Oh, good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Super excited about tonight. So come on in the room. Welcome to Monday Night Live, where we talk about all things money and all things D-free. So excited about tonight's show. I know I keep saying it. I say that every time, but the guests just keep getting better and better. And so tonight we are super, super happy about our guests, and we'll get into that shortly. I just want to make sure everybody's coming in the room. As you come in the room, you will see that the chat is open. That chat feature is open. We encourage you to engage in the chat feature. We want to know where you are from. So if you're joining us, particularly for the first time, I want you to just drop in the chat where you are coming in from, where you're calling in from, where you're zooming in from. We want to know. And as you're doing that, I'll quickly go over our housekeeping. First of all, this is Monday Night Live. We meet here every fourth Monday to talk about all things D-free. This is our communal space. We want to openly engage. We want you to join the conversation. We want feedback, and that's why that chat is open. But in the meantime, we just ask that you would mute yourselves in order to minimize distractions and to reduce the amount of microphone feedback. If you want to join the conversation, we'll invite you to unmute yourself so that you can ask questions or provide responses or just an amen corner. Folks are still coming in. These sessions are being recorded, and these recordings are available through our website, dfreefoundation.org, and on our YouTube channel. We find that we have so many people that call in from the West Coast, so we want to make sure it's available. And so if you find something of value tonight in our conversation, please, we encourage you to share that link with someone else. Again, as I mentioned, if you have a question during the session, please feel free to put it in the chat. We will do our best to address them throughout the conversation. As a reminder, I want to encourage you to check the chat often for links. If we talk about a link, we're going to drop that link in the chat. We are so privileged to have Josh working with us up in the midnight hour from Ghana, and he is handling all our production in the background. So thank you, Josh, in advance for all the links you're going to drop in the chat for us. If you do want to join the conversation or share your thoughts, we encourage you to use that raised hand feature. If you don't know where that is, it's at the bottom of your Zoom. It should be right down there, and it's a little link there. Let me see what it says. I think there's a click where you just hit the raised hand feature, and we want to go ahead and encourage you to come on and join us here. As you know, a Monday Night Live, and particularly with D-Free Global Foundation, we want to shout out our CEO and chair, Dr. DeForest B. Stories Jr., who is the founder of D-Free Global Foundation Incorporated. One of the things that I want to mention is that our theme and our theme for D-Free Foundation is wealth help protected by health. Both are very important. We found out that they're just completely linked. Folks get stressed out over money, and so we want to make sure that we do both in this space. And so at this time, I'd like to introduce Martin Sories, who is going to start with our breath work. This is where we settle ourselves, where we center ourselves, and where we focus on the theme of the day. So enjoy Martin with breath work.
All right. Hello, good people. Good evening. Thank you for having me again. For those of you who have dropped in and done some breath work with us on this Monday night live session, my name is Martin Sories. I am a certified online breathwork facilitator. I started doing this work with basketball players and have since expanded in sharing this practice that I've learned with others. And I look forward to sharing with you this practice that I use that I find very simple and very useful. Really just a guaranteed way for me to be able to drop in, settle in, slow down, quiet the noise, drop into my gratitude, remember who I am and what I'm here to do. And this has been the best way for me to be able to do that. So we're only going to go for about 5 minutes. This only works if we just keep it genuine. So maybe for the first time all day, I want you to really settle into your space. Um, I see there are cameras off. If you want to turn your camera off so nobody can see you doing your thing, that's fine. Sometimes it makes you more comfortable. Whatever it takes, let's just really use this time to just settle in and keep it simple. Reverend Sutton, I see you closing your eyes. That's good. I was gonna call you out because I noticing you've been ducking the smoke. You've been trying to be in your mode and you've been ducking the smoke. So I want you to drop in. Angie, if you're there, Josh, whoever is there in Ghana, I want you guys doing this too. Just we're only going for 5 minutes. So everyone just kind of settle into your space. Hopefully no one is driving. If you are, then definitely don't close your eyes. But you can use this while you're driving too. Just don't close your eyes and just try to listen along as I guide you over the next few minutes as we drop into just slowing down the cadence of our breath. So, just maybe for the first time all day, I want you to start to drop your shoulders, release into your hips, your feet, kind of feel the ground beneath you, your feet attached to the floor, just noticing where your body is, where your hips are, where your shoulders are, your elbows, your wrists. Right now, just kind of just settling into the body. Let those shoulders go, whatever pace you're breathing at, however you're breathing in through the nose, out through the nose, in through the nose, out through the mouth. However you're breathing, just start to let go of whatever tension you may have, any tightness you might feel in your upper back. Maybe it's in your jaw, maybe the space in between your eyebrows. I just want you to take this time to start to drop that little tension that you might feel just for these few minutes, just for this time. I want you to feel what that's like to just let go of that tightness and that tension. Sometimes I still have to wiggle around and move and just prepare for that stillness. And now, just little by little, I want you to start to sip little bits of air in through the nose as much as you can. Just start to sip in and just start to fill up all the way to the top, little by little. You don't have to rush. Nothing is rushed right now. I just want you to sip, sip, sip in that cold air in through the nose. And whenever you're ready, just exhale out through the mouth and let go of that breath. Drop the shoulders, drop the chest. Start to follow that exhale all the way out, nice and slow. And then when you're ready, on your next inhale, just start to sip in a little bit more air the same way. Just start to fill up almost like a balloon. You might feel your chest fill up, your stomach, your shoulders, your head. You might feel it all the way to the top. And whenever you're ready, I want you to fill up, sip all the way to the top, all the way to the top. Fill in that cold air and then just let go out through the mouth. Exhale and just release that breath. Drop the shoulders, drop the chest, soften the hips, the knees, the hands, the wrists. And then on your next inhale, just start to sip real slowly, nice and slow, at your own pace, sensing that cold air coming in through the nose as you fill up the body like a balloon. Maybe your shoulders press up towards your ears. Maybe you're filling up so much. You take in all that air, and whenever you're ready, just let it go out through the mouth. Drop the shoulders. Let it go. Follow that exhale all the way down. And for your next few breaths, I just want you to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Maybe you find your breath slowing down. Maybe you notice the cold air coming in and the warm air coming out. Maybe for the first time, you're actually noticing your breath and how it's connected to your body, your cells, your nervous system, your muscles, your tension, your tightness. Maybe you're noticing that you can send your breath all throughout your body and you're feeling that stillness, that calm, and that warm air as you exhale. Take one more big breath in through the nose, big breath in. Fill up all the way to the top, wherever you can get to. Fill up in through the nose. Feel that cold air. Don't be shy. Fill up, fill up, fill up, fill up. Hold at the top, wherever you are. Be ready to just let it go out through the mouth. Maybe you make a noise, a sound. Just exhale, let that go. Drop the shoulders, relax the eyebrows, relax the chest, and then slowly just start to make your way back on your own time. Maybe wiggle the fingers, the toes, and take your time making your way back. Open your eyes if you had them closed. Thank you so much for doing this practice with me and doing some breath work. I hope you were able to get something out of it. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Martin. You always get us right where we need to be. Thank you with everything that's coming on in the news and all the things that go on in the day. It is wonderful to take this time and space to be able to just kind of let some of that go before we dive in. Thank you so much for always leading us. And can you please be sure to put your information in the chat? I know that last time we had quite a few people sign up for breath work, and they had the need to do so. So if you need a little stress release in your life and a stress relief in your life, then you might want to get in touch with Martin. So thank you very much. I'm going to go back to share my screen so that we can get ready for our conversation. Oh, so many of you received our email, and you know that tonight we are talking about relationships and money. Are you financially compatible? This is a topic that comes up almost yearly for us, but we wanted to do something a little different tonight. Tonight, we have with us a seasoned couple, a little bit of season on them. They've been married for 30 years, they've been together longer than that. What we're excited to have Quandika and Brian Jack, and they'll be speaking from their perspective as a married couple. But we wanted to do a little spin on that today because inevitably I get a call that says, "Oh, what about us single people? What about people that are dating?" And so we have with us Candace Croft, who is also going to join. We originally had Candace and Brendan Pitchford, but unfortunately he had a scheduling conflict. So Candace is going to hold it down for the couple and for the millennials being able to share because she's also one of those folks that has gone not only gone through dfree the curriculum, but she's also leading dfree in her church. And so we're very glad about the couple as well as Candace, because all have touched dfree, have experienced dfree, and all of them are going to let us get in their business tonight. So my hope is that we will all enjoy what's about to take place. So let's get started. First of all, let me say thank you, because I do realize that you all could have been anywhere tonight. So I appreciate you coming and hanging out with us. So let's get started. I do have a couple of questions. I want to play a game with well, no, before we do, let me let the Jacks introduce themselves. Brian, you can go first, and then Quandika, you can kind of jump in. We'll test those microphones.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Brian Jack. Live in Somerset, New Jersey. Husband of Quandika Jack.
Right now.
Um, I'm coming from Dallas, Texas.
Calling
So
in hours tonight. We appreciate that.
yeah, so that's where I'm Monday Night Live from. We live in Somerset, New Jersey, as Shonda said, happily married for 30 years, going on 31. And happy to be here with you all this evening. Enjoyed the breathing exercises because we could all take a time out to catch our breath.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. And who's the lovely lady that's married to Brian?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Quandika Jack, and married to Brian Jack. He basically said everything about us. We're from Somerset, New Jersey, and thank you again, Martin, for this, and thank you, Rev Shonda, for inviting us tonight.
Good, good. Well, thank you. I think we're going to give our audience a chance to get to know the two of you a little bit better. So I'm going to put us so that people can see you both at the same time.
Okay.
I'm going to ask that you both close your eyes and raise your hand if this applies to you. And I want somebody in our audience to keep score. All right. Quick question. Close your eyes. Who saw who first? Raise your hand if you were the one that saw. Okay. All right. Y'all got
Okay.
that? Okay. Next up, Who knew you were the one first? Which one knew, like, oh, this is my boo? I knew. Oh, okay, all right. I see one hand. All right. Now, who is the saver in the marriage? Who is the saver? Who is the saver? Okay, all right. Y'all keeping score, audience? Okay, good, good, good. All right. Who is the spender? In all right, all right. I see another hand. Uh-oh. All right. Who likes to go out to eat the most? Raise a hand. Okay, I see one. All right. Who is the chef at home? Who's the one that cooks? 'Cause right now it's expensive either way. All right, okay. Let's see. Who is most likely to break the budget? Who is most likely to break the budget? Okay, all right. Who is the best gift giver? Who's the best gift giver? Okay. All right. Who is the vacation person? Loves going on a good vacation. Okay. Who spoils the children? All right. Who is going to be the first to retire? All right. I see that. Let's see. Who has the most entrepreneurial spirit? All right. Okay. Seeing one hand. And last, who celebrates Valentine's Day the best? Okay. All right. You guys get to open up your eyes now. I'm gonna tell you. Did everyone get a good kick out of that? I think Dr. Stories came in also, so we're grateful to have him here. So we got to know you a little bit better. I think y'all were on the same page for most of them. There were a couple of hours, there's a couple little suspect, but we appreciate that. I want to give Dr. Stories an opportunity to say hello because I know that we also have two other very special guests that are in. I think they're ear hustling tonight, and that is Candace's parents. And so we're happy to have Reverend Dr. Wayne Croft as well as Lady Lisa Croft as well with us. So thank you both for joining us. Dr. Stories, did you want to say hello? I think you might be ear hustling too. Well, let's get into it. When he, one thing about Dr. Stories is when he's ready, he'll jump on. All right. So, Jax, want to ask quick questions. Growing up, let's see. No, I think I want to change with you. Okay. So, growing up, did your family talk about money to the two of you? Was that a conversation that happened amongst you, or?
So I'll start. I grew up in a very humble household. My dad was from Trinidad, and he grew up in an even more humbler household. So my mom was the spender, and my dad was, he didn't make a lot of money, but he was very frugal. Extremely frugal, and the conversation with money around him was that you need to, if you want money, you need to get a job, type of conversation. And with my mom, she was the spender in the family, so it was all, we didn't have like what I would consider to be real financial conversations, at all, growing up. Once I started working, then we started having conversations about contributing to the household and everything like that, and saving your money, not spending all of your money. But prior to that, like allowance was not like a regular thing when I grew up or anything like that.
Hmm. Quantica, is that the same for you?
No, so my experience was different. So I grew up in Somerset. My mom worked for the stock exchange. My dad was a correction officer. So we
Mhm.
were middle class. But one thing, my parents always made me work for everything that I have. So I would say that I was spoiled, but that's when I discovered layaway. So if I wanted something, if I wanted that, color TV or my phone or whatever, my mom would meet me halfway. I had a teen line. The teen line, I had
Uh-huh.
to pay my own, bill, and but everything wasn't just handed to me. If I wanted something, she said, okay. I went to the flea market on Route 1, I put it on layaway, and she would, I would make payments weekly. And and then she would meet me halfway. When I got to the halfway mark, she knew that I really wanted it, you know what I mean? But then I grew up around other friends that everything was just handed to them. That wasn't the case. They had the money. They always let me know it's their money, not mine. So so I'm like, well, why can't I just get it like everyone else is getting it? They're like, no, you have to work for it. So we did have conversations about money, and that was the thing. If they would tell me, if you want it, you got to work for it, and you got to pay something to it. And I just thought that was very unfair. But now as an adult, I see, that created a lot of my habits now as an adult. So
This is good though. It's amazing because you both come to the table with two different lenses, and somehow or another, this is how you were before you became Mr. and Mrs. But after you became Mr. and Mrs., how did you handle your finances? Like, has that changed since your union? Because there has to be some level of compromise with the two different backgrounds.
You want to go first, huh?
no, you could go first.
So I think over time, first of all, like I had to really turn mostly everything over to my wife because I was not good with paying bills and following schedules and things of that nature. So I think what I learned early on is that she was better at that than me. And, I would take advantage of that because what I didn't say is that, of course we have children and even grandchildren now. And, my wife was a stay-at-home mom for, just about 2 or 3 years. But in that time frame, she was able to really get our finances in better shape because we had ruined our credit after we were married. We probably spent more on a wedding than we really could afford, at the time,
Mm,
and got into we I got into credit card debt and then had other debts that we had to deal with. So it was extremely hard. So she sort of pulled us out of that hole that we were in, and I think that was like critical of getting on the same page because at the time where we were looking to buy a house and things like that, you couldn't go on the internet and click a few buttons and have someone loan you like hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Like at the time that we were looking for a home, we would have to have proof of paying your bills on a monthly basis, rent, rent checks to really lay out that you're paying your rent on time and things like that, and that was all attributed to her. She had the bank account, she had the bank statement, she had the checks, everything laid out, and it became an easier model for me to follow. I had moved from Brooklyn. I had debt from Brooklyn that I had never paid. I left my phone bill unpaid with New York Telephone, so that had been on my record. I had to get that straightened out. We bought timeshare before we even had a home because her parents had timeshare. So I thought I was middle class, but I wasn't middle class, right? So I went up there, out to the Poconos and bought a timeshare. And, obviously, with having kids very young into the marriage, we couldn't afford that. So, I had to dispose of that. And that's probably one of the hardest things you can get rid of. Back then, it was very easy to get rid of timeshare. Now it's virtually impossible to
right,
get rid of
right.
it. Um, we had our growing pains. It was definitely not an easy journey.
So this is good to know that in the marriage there's sometimes it's someone that's a little bit better with money than others, and I thank you for yielding to your wife's wisdom in that moment to be able to kind of dig you guys out of the hole. But Kwandika, I know that at some point in your marriage you all both went through the dfree curriculum. How has that influenced your financial decisions? Can you tell us about your
That's
experience of having
Brian.
gone through the classes? Yeah. Oh yeah, Brian did that.
Yeah, that was Brian.
Well. So I did it a couple of different ways. First of all, like one of the original folks involved with D-Free counseling at First Baptist Church in Lincoln Gardens is a good friend of mine, Ralph Jardine. So we became affiliated through another group, and I picked his brain a lot. He really helped, and was instrumental. But I would say probably the thing that really resonated with me is attending church and going through the dfree was included as part of First Baptist. Just about every time you went in there when Pastor Soares was pastor there. So I mean, he would collect the credit card offers that were sent from credit card companies where 0% finance for 12 months or 18 months. He would actually collect those from the congregation and send them back to the credit card companies saying, don't send these out. This predatory lending practices. He talked about payday loans. I never took a payday loan, but the stories were just horrifying, hearing about what people actually go through with the payday loans, testimonials from the crowd. So, um, I would say a good 20 years of that. I mean, put me on a path that I wanted to
Yes.
have testimonials, right? I
Yes.
wanted to be able to stand up and say,
Yes.
I'm debt free and everything like that. So I would say that that was heavily embedded into us, just by
Yes.
going to church.
Yes, and I agree. It wasn't we didn't do the formal classes, but it was just week after week just hearing. And like Brian said, I wanted to be the one to say, "Oh, I paid off my car. I paid." And then after week listening to the sermons, we just followed, pretty much what he said. And then we paid off our car notes, and then we did, paid off our student loans, and we did this and we did that. So it was, just from going, not even formal classes. Brian picked up several books and he read the books and said we're going to do this, and that's how we got it, not the formal class but just through our sermons, through Buster Stories.
All right, all right.
Yeah.
Well, we're grateful to hear that the sermons were impactful, and that Brian, I know Brian has quite a few copies of "Say Yes to No Debt," um, so we're grateful for that as well. One of the things I wanted to ask you specifically, Quanti, because I know that you all have children, adult children. Um,
Yes.
I want to know. I was privileged to see your daughter married and all that, and it was a
Thank
beautiful,
you.
another beautiful wedding. So
Yes.
my question is, how do you all handle finances concerning your children? I got this and one more question before we head over to Candace. But tell me a little bit about that, or tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so just to piggyback what Brian said, so that he said I'm glad that he trusted in me because, like he said, we got married pretty young, right? So the only thing that I can do is just, dig back into what my mother did, and I saw what she did. So if I didn't have the money, she said, put money on everything, PSNG. There's certain things, you just have to pay, you know what I mean? So that's why I dug back and said, well, what would she do? And what was I taught? And, and I would mimic that. So now with my kids, the same thing. So I tell them the struggles, like Brian said. I said, we got our car repossessed. I told them everything, you know what I mean? When we were in our early 20s and different things. So I tell them and then I show them what to do. Now I can tell them now whether they follow or not. And I know that when they're in a bind, they'll reach back like I did and said, okay, well, what did my mom do? And that's what I would do.
Dr. Stories is in the chat saying, I know something about money every Sunday. Yes, indeed. That is a that is
Yes,
that is a confession.
every
um,
Sunday.
every Sunday, and we love
Uh,
it.
yeah,
D
he
free.
was talking directly to me. That's the way I felt. Like it's like you know,
Yes.
you don't need a shirt with a little guy on a pony was one of his sermons,
Yes.
and so, but I just put something, it's like, it takes years, right, to really plan it. Like we've had to pay thousands of dollars in student loans for our kids, like one thing I'll say about our daughter, she had a large wedding and everything like that. We gave her and her now husband our budget, and we said, you can do what you want to do, but this is what we're committed up until, and we honored that, and and we also gave him our advice. We said, it's one day. It'll be a great day. It'll be a beautiful day, but it's one day. So you have to think about all those other days, right? When you multiply 365 days times the years that you expect to be married, you have to figure out how you're going to manage, those expenses. So that was our advice. Now, the kids of today, they could take it or they could leave it, but what we tried to do is, just honor the commitments that we made to them with getting them educated and everything like that. But they had to bring something to the table, like with college expenses and everything. I wouldn't say it was like 50-50. It may have been more like 70-30 at the end of the day, but it was enough so that we're both in this together and committed together.
I'm glad you spoke about that, because I know that, I want to talk about the flip side of that. You were able to help your children, but you're also part of that sandwich generation where you are helping your parents, or you've helped your parents. Can you just share a little bit, as one of our closing questions, about what that's like taking care of your parents and what that experience was like with your mom?
Yeah, yeah. My mom was very guarded. She was a spender. My mom grew up on a farm in North Carolina. So unlike my dad, my mom was never hungry because she grew up on a 30-acre farm with her parents. She had a lot of siblings. And when she came to New York City with the Great Migration, spend, spend, spend is, pretty much what she did. And she was very guarded with her finances. So when she did take ill, she had a heart attack. She turned her uh, finances. No, she turned the finances over to me, and I was overwhelmed with the number of credit cards that she had. She had at least like 25 credit cards, all charging 30% interest. And it made me sick to my stomach, at having been able to get in a D-free situation ourselves. So what I did is take over her finances. I paid the highest, again, following the school of thought. And as it's outlined in some of Pastor Sori's D-free books, paid the highest interest rates off first, um, and pretty much got her to a D-free situation within one calendar year, to the extent that she is in the best financial condition that she's ever been in. The money that I was, supplementing her with, I no longer have to do that, so I'm happy. My brothers are no longer have to um, um, give her money to supplement her income. They're thrilled, with that outcome, and she is just relieved because when I went into the hospital and I saw her clutching this little binder that she had, and in that binder she had the dates and account numbers for the credit card bills, everything which she had to pay because her thing was she didn't want to pay a late charge. I said, forget about the late charge. You have to look at the interest that you're paying here, and how that interest is actually more. You're just paying interest every year. The principal is not going down. So she was able to turn it over to me, and I was able to get her in a better situation. And now she doesn't want to know. She doesn't even worry about it though. She doesn't even care about her expenses because she's D-free. So that's not a worry of hers. If she needs anything she needs, she could pay cash for it. And she was down in North Carolina, and they have they have more predatory lenders down there. Like
Mm.
they outfit themselves to look like banks, but they're not banks. They're actually these loan originators that again charge 30% interest to unsuspecting folks who may need a little bit of money to get by. So that's been a key thing. I know my wife has taken over her dad's expenses too, but he was in, he was in much better shape because he doesn't believe in credit. So that was that. While that was easier, it was still a challenge for her just taking care of him, managing his household and managing our household. So
Mhm.
That's great. I just so appreciate you all being so transparent and sharing with us. I am grateful. Dr. Stories put in the chat, at least it helped one family. And that's always our goal at D-Free Global Foundation, is to close that wealth gap one family at a time. And so we thank you, Jax, for sharing with us tonight. If there are any questions, you guys can go ahead and put it in the chat. We'll kind of circle back to it, because I do want to take advantage of the fact that we have a millennial in the building. Now, everybody always talks about millennials and they get such a bad rap. Even the word millennial is associated with everybody that's under 30, right? Even though it's not necessarily true. And so I thank you, Candace, for coming on and being patient with us. Folks that are not millennials and giving you guys a bad rap. Thank you. Candace, you just want to share a little bit about yourself as well?
Yeah. So hi everyone. I'm Candace Croft. I am a millennial. I live out in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. I was to be joining my significant other tonight, however, but he did have a schedule conflict, so please charge it to his head and not his heart. But he lives in Jersey City, New Jersey. And though it's not 30 years, which is beautiful for the Jacks, we've been dating for 4 months. And our first date was actually FinFest in September. In November. That was our first date. I said I'd be out in Jersey for this weekend. I was telling him about it. Come to find out, he was dfree certified, knew all about it, knew Reverend Sutton. So, that was kind of before we got exclusive. I was like, oh, that's nice. And so we met that morning at FinFest, and then we went on about our date. But that was our first date. So it's very funny to be here now.
This is such a full circle moment. And write
Yes.
that down, everybody. You can date at FinFest.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about the next one's
It
coming up.
tells you a lot, let me tell you, in good ways.
This is good. Well, talk about a foundation, right?
Mhm.
This is good. Thank you. I didn't know that was your first date when I saw you guys there. That's super exciting. But let me ask you this: how do you and the millennials at your church, and how do you use D-Free to manage your finances? I know that you're really involved in it, and just to show up for your first date at FinFest says a whole lot. So please tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so past summer we had Pastor Stories come. He came and preached. My father, who was the pastor, was on sabbatical. He came and preached every first Sunday, and every first Sunday after service, we had a D-Free seminar, which you were attended and teached. And so we really wanted to push in that same time. We were started a young adult, and we thought it would be a great opportunity for our young adults to see what we were offering them and get a presence there and let them know, hey, this is what we're starting with. And so the seminars really helped. We were able to get them books that were covered, and the conversations helped because it allowed them to, one, see that they're not alone. A lot of the things that we're struggling with millennials is, we're dealing with inflation, we're dealing with high renting prices that we were not prepared for after we got out of college. We're dealing with how to do student loan debts, and also the job market. And I think a lot what we learned in those seminars is that, oh, okay, it's not just me. Like I make either a good living and I'm still struggling. And not saying that you're doing anything wrong, but now how do you adjust to where we are economically? And I think the seminars really helped with that. And so having the books, having the conversations, knowing, hey, what are you doing that maybe I'm not doing that could help? And so it really started a great conversation and a pathway of, okay, how will we do better financially as millennials in this time?
Oh my gosh. I was so encouraged because there was a group of you that came
Hmm.
to FinFest. So people were really excited about it. And we are going to be having some more conversations because we know that Josh is in the background and we're talking about, all kinds of finances for young money in Africa. But we also want to talk about, so we're going to bring the two groups together and have an even more fruitful conversation. This is just to wet everybody's whistle tonight. So let me ask this. Like I said, millennials get a really bad rap. Everybody thinks you're door dashing your money away, crunching your money away, that you're bundling your money away, all those things, right? All manicures, pedicures, and all that.
Right.
Know of any young adults who have gone into debt for lifestyle reasons like vacations or shopping or eating, and how did that impact them?
Um, well, I can say from personal experience, DoorDash was and is my weakness. So they're not all entirely myths, I will say. We do struggle with that. DoorDash, and also with us being the the group that has known social media since the beginning. Now with this boom of influencers, it's even more hard because now we're getting pushed with, oh, this is the newest fad. This will help you with your health or beneficially. It's something like that. And they're really fads. They come and go. But because we're following all these people and we're getting all this information, now we're buying things. We're seeing Target hauls. We're seeing beauty influencers and makeup. And so because what we're seeing is get, this is what you need. This is what you need. This will help with this and other things. I think it's a big influence on us. How it hurts us though is that we get if you just cut out Starbucks, you'd be a millionaire by now. And it's like, how true is that? And it's those things I think that really hurt us because we're being told something that could help, Starbucks, maybe if you get a Keurig home would help, but it's not going to get you to being maybe a millionaire, right? And so it's these conversations that have, unrealistic expectations. And I think that's the issue. So I think knowing what your advice is, budgeting really helps, and knowing what extra expenses are you doing? Are you eating out too much? One thing has helped is my parents saying maybe change the mindset and saying eating out is a luxury, even though it is at the palm of our fingers. I think that's what the issue is. It's at the palm of our, so it's easy. Oh, I don't feel like eating more tonight. I'll get it. And then you realize now you're eating out breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that
Right.
adds up for sure. And so I think it's when you realize, where is my money going and how can I scale back? Because just taking out Starbucks is not going to help you overall. And I think that's what we have to look at as millennials and try to my mom said
I saw mama. Y'all better
yeah,
cook.
and so it's not a one size fit all, right? And I think that's what millennials have to that's what we have to debunk. What not buying this for one person may not be the same as the other person buying and seeing a difference. And we have to find that balance.
This is good stuff to learn. I think it really boils down to the needs versus the wants, right?
Exactly.
It really sounds like you all are paying attention to it. I got nervous because a child who shall remain nameless, that belongs to me, decided he was going to go to I think it was GPT or some sort of Greek picnic or something, and decided
Mhm.
to go on Afterpay. Well, he's still paying for his lovely trip.
Yes.
Like,
And we fought, is it Klarna,
Klarna,
Affirm?
Zip,
That is getting us left
bad
and
words.
right.
Bad
It
words, everyone.
and
Like
it will
other
mess you. I
service.
think we have to remember, is this experience worth paying off 6 months after you come back?
Right. Do you still
I had a
remember the
friend do that
experience?
with Tulum.
Oh, yeah.
Her trip was in May. She didn't finish paying it off till October that year. And it's like, was that really worth doing? And most of the time, no, it's not. But Affirm and Klarna is another thing that's affecting millennials as well, because we're like, oh, I'll just pay off in time. And it's not worth it. It definitely it hurts you financially.
Yes, definitely important to know the relationship between time and money. So write
Mhm.
that down, D-free folks. I wanted to shift a little bit because I know that you are dating and we're so excited about your dating. But how do you think that financial compatibility is important, or I guess is it as important as emotional or spiritual connection? Like, do you think that that's super important in a relationship? And is that something that you all are exploring? Why or why not?
Yes, I think it's very important. And you see, like our first date being FinFest, that's how important it is to me. But it was important to Brendan as well. Actually, FinFest created our theme for 2025 as we were going into our relationship. So our theme 2025 was health and wealth. And so from that, which was the theme of FinFest. And so it's important because you have to have those conversations. I think millennials, because we're taking a lot of dating advice online, we're seeing how other people date, we're taking in not the best information. And so sometimes people think having those conversations may mean he or she is, you know, is after you for your money, or they want to control the relationship with money. And sometimes that's not the case. It's a good way of communication to see where they are. For my relationship, we do talk about it often as well, to make sure that we're still compatible, that we understand for long-term goals. I think our recent conversation was learning our upbringing, just as the Jacks were saying. So my significant other, he was raised where his mom was the management of the finances, where I grew up where my dad was. So we had different expectations in our relationship of who was going to do what. And
Right.
that creates another conversation. And if you definitely want to see this person long term, is how were they raised, right, to handle finances, and how does that coincide with you? And so what it came down to, as you stated, is who's the best at it, right? And so you're not doing things just because, oh, this is how my parents did it, even though that person may not be good, and now you're in a rut and a black hole. And so I think it's very important to have those conversations and to find compatibility, because they be learning something that they need, and you may be learning something that you need to better your own finances, especially in dating, because even though you haven't put your finances together, you're still maintaining your day to day. They're maintaining their day to day, and something that you learn between the two can better each other in your while you're dating in your own life, and then when you come together, you're both on one accord at least.
Wow, now I'm about to get you some brownie points, right? Since the rents are on the line now and they're paying attention, can you
Mhm.
please share with our audience the best financial advice that your parents may have given you? And this is for them. Okay.
Oh boy. Oh, the best financial advice. I would say
Not your mom's in
between
the comments saying y'all better cook. Is that the best? No.
No, because I'm still working on that. So it's still a progress. The best is probably the saving and investing. My parents taught me at a younger age the benefits of that, and because how they did it, I'm reaping the benefits of it, so I'm seeing how they invested, how that's helped me. So now I'm like, okay, that really sets you up for the future. And so seeing how they did it and how it's helping me makes me want to start now at a younger age to see where it could be by the time I am a parent myself, or and married. So I think saving, I've always been a saver, and they really encouraged that growing up, so that was really good for me. And then now that I have my own job, my own place, now it's like, okay, you save, now where are you putting it so it can continue to grow, right? Or what, how can you better, so it's not just sitting in your savings account and getting maybe cents and dollars, like, so it can make actual growth. And so I think that was the best um financial financial tip they can give me.
All right. So that should get you some brownie points at home. All right. Oh, your mother said, make your money work for you.
Yep.
Yeah. This is good. This is good. So I wanted to have one more question for you. If so we talked about the advice from your parents to you. What
Mhm.
advice would you give to other millennials about balancing love and finances or any of the things that we kind of talked about tonight? What would be your best advice?
Communication. Talk about it. People are so scared to talk about money, and I think it's really important. Not only so it's important also for mindset,
Mhm.
because my sister was saying, it's good to have those conversations with him so he knows. And any circumstance, may what happened, say if he's making more, does that changes things? If you're making more, does that change things? So that helps with his mindset and how he feels about financial, how it would be shared. So the best thing is really to talk about it. Now, not to say you have to talk about all on the first date, don't put away. But I promise, between the first date and you max out your credit card, you're gonna find something in between that stops you from maxing out your credit card. And so I think having those conversations earlier on, so you can learn, because it tells you more than just about his bank account, his mindset, his upbringing, how he feels about money, how he feels about other things, he or she. And so I think it saves you from a lot of trouble later on if you talk about them a little early. So that's my best tip.
I love it. I love it. I love that you're so forward thinking. I want to give one more little bonus free game question here. Now, you literally were you embodied the myth buster, right? Because
Mhm.
everything we thought, you literally spoke and realized that, all millennials are not crazy and they're not all spending their money and all that great stuff. You are completely the opposite of that. But if you had an opportunity right now on this platform to be able to I guess bust a myth,
Mhm.
what's the biggest millennial money myth do you think should be corrected tonight? Like, what one would that be?
A myth that would be that I think as a millennial should be busted is I think like I said earlier, about, the whole if you just take one thing to one side that we're a one size fit all. That's what I would say. The one thing is that I think we're a generation that's very overly generalized.
Mhm.
And I think that's the issue. And that's a myth I think I would like to buzz is that we are not one size fit all. And I think when talking with millennials, hear them out because what everything that you're saying, it may not apply to them. It's just maybe what you've heard or what you've seen or what you have assumed. And I think yeah, that's a myth I'd like to bust. And like Brian said, the karma myth, the Klarna, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh my goodness. This is so good. I know there are going to be more questions and I know I'm going to have you back with our other Young Money teammates. But I thank you so much for pausing tonight to be able to share with us. We really do appreciate it. And we do miss Brendan, but we will have him on soon. So we want to thank God for that as well. And thank your parents for supporting. I do want to share really quickly because you have proven that folks can meet and fall in love at FinFest. So we want to give everybody a heads up and let you know that our next FinFest is happening on Saturday, April 26th, 2025 at NJIT, New Jersey Institute of Technology. We're going to be on campus. We are looking for a full day from 9 to 3. I want to let you know tonight, registration is open. Woo, 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 woo. You found it first on Monday Night Live. And so Josh is going to drop that link in the chat for you. As always, FinFest, for those who do not know, is a short for financial festival. This is where wealth is being protected by health. So we're going to have financial festival as well as health screenings. We're going to put everything in one place. We have master classes, classes about AI, classes about starting a business. We have classes and not just for adults, but we're also going to have a children's side. Now, on the young people side, we have a full day of programming for youth and young adults, young people. Why? Because we want them to have a firm foundation with their finances as well. So we want to encourage you to come. FinFest is free. Did you hear me? Free. It does not cost a penny. We are able to do this with the support of our generous funders, Prudential, RWJ Barn, Newark. We are so grateful to have the city of Newark host us. After a full day of FinFest with free food and free activities and free information, we are also going to have a graduation. There are many women in the city of Newark, almost 300 women who have gone through the dfree curriculum throughout this past year. Because April is Financial Literacy Month, we want to graduate and celebrate these women who have changed their lives. And so we encourage you to come out to FinFest on Saturday, April 26, 2025, this year in New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey. So please register today. Tell someone about FinFest. This is a wonderful opportunity for families to have a full day. You get to own your day. You get to pick what your schedule looks like. We're just going to set you up for success, and we hope that you will join us. And just in case you weren't sure what FinFest is, here's a quick video.
And so I would say there's three things you always want to make sure that you have set before you start investing. One of them is an emergency fund. An emergency fund is 3 to 6 months of living expenses. The big expenses are not like, oh, going out to eat and entertainment. It's literally the bare minimum if you lost your job and you just need to stay alive. It was 3 to 6 months. The second thing is paying off high interest debt. So whenever you're considering whether you're going to invest or pay off debt, you look at the interest rate. So if we assume you can maybe make 7 to 10% investing and you have a credit card that's a 20% interest rate, then you want to prioritize paying off that credit card because you may not be able to get the 20% returns in the investing, but you can guarantee if you pay off that credit card, you are saving 20%. And the last thing I would say is a budget. Nobody likes budgeting, but if you don't know how much money is coming in and you don't know how much money is going out, you really can't make any decisions. And so I talk to my financial coaching clients about that all the time. Like budgeting isn't fun, but it's necessary. If you have no idea how much money you're bringing in and how much money you're spending, how are you going to decide how much you're going to invest and save each month? It's just necessary.
She just summarized the first 3 chapters of my book in 1 minute. So thank you for that.
I was like, I'm so mad at you because you don't give me what I want, right? But as I got older and talked to my mom, she said, boy, that's because I was trying to give you what you needed, right? So that's a whole different mindset. Everybody say need. Say once. There we go. Okay. Yeah. You ready? What to accept has to offer. Invest in myself. Everything is working for my greater good. It's in me around. It's in the cross. Always. Will take business and multiply money. Myself and never are building every day.
Steps, because we know we fail forward before we get to our success point, was probably in around 2011. And the biggest challenge for me then was my middle son was diagnosed with autism. And at the time, we didn't know it was autism, but I had just launched Success Ladder Academy at the time in New Jersey. And I would literally get calls from the child study team, get calls from the school. I was trying to juggle commitments. And so ultimately, I ended up having to close the business down and focus on my children's health. But as time went on, I leveraged that to learn because it's not going to stop, right? When there are challenges in your personal life, people don't talk about that part. They don't talk about that part of entrepreneurship. They just talk about marketing and getting the funds, all important things, getting the business, your infrastructure. But they don't talk about the fact that as a CEO, you are a human being. And the other part of your life that's very important is not going to stop so that you can grow your business.
Look forward to seeing you. You can connect with us at dfreefoundation.org. And more importantly, you can say yes to no debt and build your financial freedom for you and your family. God bless you. Thank you for coming. And I look forward to seeing you next time.
All right. It's our prayer that you will join us at FinFest. That was a snapshot of what we took place last year in November. We hope that you will join us in April, April 26th. Thank you so much to Candace Croft. Thank you so much to Brian and Kwandika Jack. And thank you to all of you who stayed on tonight. We hope that we get to see you this time next month, same station, Zoom. Thank you again. Have a great night, everyone.